Hello, book lovers. This is episode 7 of the Biblio Files. I am your host, Jack, from the BookTube channel, Jack and the Bookstack. And I am graced with the presence of Cassidy from Covers With Cassidy. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed today. I'm super excited. I came across your channel, I think it was through Michelle's library.
Yeah.
I think somebody mentioned somebody, or I think it might have been like Smut Den or something.
I love Michelle.
Yeah, me too. So I am so excited to have you as a guest today. So before we jump into like the interview and the questions, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and your channel? What can people expect to find on Covers with Cassidy?
My most hated question. But you're
really going to have a tough time for these interviews.
Do it at every interview, but here I am. Hi, I'm Cassidy. I read mainly adult fantasy, but I do dabble in a lot of other genres. I read romance, fantasy romance, young adult fantasy, horror, sci-fi, and every once in a while I will dabble into like contemporary romance, but like once a year, not lots. I mainly do vlogs, recommendation videos, and I love readathons. So there's a lot of readathons that happen around my channel or that I participate in. And I think that's it. That's what you can expect from my channel. Lots of probably angry opinions too. I get hate. Not hate. Everyone just knows me that I don't like books. So it's just
no way. I don't think I've seen I don't think I would classify anything as negative on your channel. I didn't see a lot of hate.
I'm not like I feel like my negative reviews are just still funny. So people I'm not shouting about negative reviews, but when I talk about negative books, like I do it in a way that like doesn't come across as angry. But I feel like people just know that I don't like a lot of books.
Okay.
I think rate harshly.
I think the one that might be it, like a little bit more picky with the good ratings.
I give it a lot of 1 and 2 stars, but like I think my rating system is just a little bit pickier than others sometimes. Like my 2 stars are a lot of people's 3 stars.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think the one that shocked me, and I don't even think it was a negative review, but when you did the Nevernight trilogy, I thought for sure that would be like a solid 4. I can't remember what you rated it, but I don't think you were swept away by it.
No, 4, 3, and 3 went that one, and it was definitely not swept away. I still liked it, but like I also thought I was like 5 stars, 100%. I'm gonna binge this, amazing, incredible, and then I was very saddened by my thoughts at the end.
Well, and that's the thing. We go into a book like hoping it will be 5 stars, right? So it's kind of disappointing when it's like a 3, even though that's still a decent rating.
Yeah, I like my 3 stars. I think I don't think a 3 is a negative rating.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like, for me, it's like an average, right?
Yeah.
Like this was okay. You could recommend it to some people, but you're not like,
yeah, exactly,
going crazy over it. Okay, so if this is your first time turning into a Biblio Files episode, what we're going to do is I have 10 questions for Cassidy about favorites, reading habits, different things to get to know her as a reader. And she has seen the questions, so she has a little bit of time to prepare. But after those, we have 5 bookish would you rather questions for her. And I have to tell you, Cassidy, the 5th one, I have been giddy since I wrote this list. Like, I am so proud of myself for how...
I'm scared!
Oh, you should be, because I think these are brilliant. So I am so excited to see if I can stump you on any of these. So, but we'll start with the easy ones. So the first 3 are questions that I ask every guest, just to ease you into it. So first of all, what are you reading right now?
I'm prepared.
Ooh.
I'm reading both of these. I am 70% into Master of the Void and probably 30% into Blood of the Lion. These are both semi-finalists for my team for SPIFBO. I'm a judge for that competition. So I'm reading both these. I'm really enjoying them.
Ooh, good. Are you going to do like a reading vlog for them or book reviews or anything?
I have a reading vlog coming where I read all 5 of my semifinalists, and then I'll pick my finalist, because the way the comp works is then each team picks a finalist, and then the judges all read the 10 finalists.
Okay.
and then we vote. So I have to pick my finalist and then read everyone else's.
Okay. So these are 2 of the 5 you said that you read?
Yeah.
Or 2 of the 10?
So I have it's kind of a weird process. There's like 30 books that get allotted to my team. We have to get that down to 1, and you can kind of do that however you want. And my team decided to give like semi-finalists. So I had 6 people under me who all read books and then told me what book they thought was the best, and that's the semi-finalist. And then I'm reading all 6 of those books.
Okay.
But one book was nominated twice, so I have 5. And then I will give 1 book to be one of the 10 finalists. It's confusing at first.
So I was trying to see, like, without telling us what it is or spoiling it, do you think you have an indication of like the front runner yet? Like your favorite?
I have read 2 fully,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm decent way into those. And I have 2 books that have the exact same score currently.
Okay.
That I really love both of them. So I'm like, I'm going to struggle picking this finalist. Thankfully, there is something called the Senlin safety net in this competition where I can like say this book was like really good, but I couldn't pick it. But all the other teams, if they haven't picked their finalist, can then read it and maybe pick it as their finalist. So I have a feeling I will be using that.
It's good to know. It seems like Kristen Craves Books is really excited for your content coming up. So
Yes.
be really excited. Oh yeah, thanks for joining. Maria might read that. Thanks for lurking while working. We won't tell that that sounds like employee of the month status to me.
100%.
All right, question number 2. What is your most read genre and subgenre? You kind of mentioned this when you talked about your channel.
Yeah, so fantasy 100% is my most read genre. I honestly think my most read subgenre really fluctuates because I tend to get obsessive about like one subgenre and reading like a lot of it, and then I get bored of it and then I read another. But probably overall, like a political fantasy is probably my most read subgenre, but I feel like that's very broad.
Yeah, and it kind of encompasses a lot, I'm sure. Okay. So what is a favorite book of all time? I know this is like the dreaded question for all book lovers.
I have it so easy. It's The Poppy War. I love that trilogy.
Oh, that's an easy answer for you. Okay. Awesome. Now that's very political, right? I haven't read it, so.
Yeah, politics, military. Yeah.
All of your buzzwords.
Yeah, and the little, not grimdark, but like leans darker, and a younger character who's like rebelling against the world, telling her she can't do something. I love a character like that.
And it's more emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in it, definitely. There's some heartbreaking scenes in it.
Rips your heart out.
It's a little bit historical too, because it is based on like real life history.
Okay, yeah, that adds a lot more substance to it for sure. Well, could you tell us what is a subgenre and a trope that you are least likely to read? You said that you read a lot of stuff. You have a wide span, but there's got to be something you're not interested in.
Like outside of fantasy, I can easily say like historical books. Like historical fiction is not for me. Don't like it. Inside of fantasy, there's not a lot that I wouldn't try. Cozy fantasy is probably my least favorite, but I still read it and try it. So it's I don't really have that big of a preference. I like to read a lot, and I like to like test my boundaries quite a bit. A trope I don't know if it counts as a trope, like healing magic. I find it like a cop out a lot of the time, which I still read them and sometimes like them. So it's all over the place, but it's something I definitely like am pickier about. Oh, Rachel is right. Look, people in the comments know me better than I know myself. I also hate urban fantasy, but
really?
Not urban fantasy in terms of like just at a city, but like in our world. Like if people want me to believe that there's fairies in Edmonton, I am just like, this cannot exist in my brain. There's too much suspending of disbelief.
Yeah, I can picture that. Like for me, I don't like cell phones and security cameras. And my like that, it's too complex. Or if it's more of like a mystery kind of element, like DNA testing.
Yes,
like you can't have that in fantasy. In my opinion, but
I feel it. It just like takes me out of the story so much to like, I'm then picturing just like a regular world, and then I'm like, wait, but isn't this fantastical?
Yeah. So for healing magic, would you include like resurrection? Like if they're brought back to life, would you include that in healing
Yeah,
magic?
probably. I just like find often it's like a cop out to not do it like a better way. Like I was like, if you would put more thought into it, it probably would have made sense. But most of the time it's just like, oh, I didn't want to kill off someone. So they're just magically healed and yay. And it comes out of nowhere half the time where like the main character now can heal someone.
It's like the author got writer's block, right? And didn't know how to get out of this situation. So it's like a cop out.
Yeah.
For sure. I would agree with you on that one.
It can be done really well though. Like I have read it done well, but just something I am so about.
I see what you mean. Like if I knew that was in a book, I wouldn't not read the book.
Mm-hmm.
But more often than not, I'm rolling my eyes when
Yeah.
that happens because I'm like, oh, come on, this is so cheesy. Okay, so similarly, what is a genre, subgenre, or trope that you want to read more of?
Oh, you know, I've seen all these questions, but I don't remember a single one of them, so I didn't prepare very well.
Which is good. We're getting you like on the fly, first thing that comes to your mind.
I need to think for a second. A genre I want to try more of, like I already still read it, but I definitely want to dive into horror even more than I already do because I feel like I don't know my taste well enough in horror yet, and I'd like to be able to pick out a book in a horror bookstore and be like, I think I'm gonna like this the way I can with fantasy, where like right now it's like this is a wild card. It sounds good. Let's read it and see. Subgenre. Vampire romances, but magical worlds. So like not like a whole like vampire species that's been created and it's not like urban. I feel like we get a lot of like urban vampire romances, but like I read like Serpent on the Wings of Night and Blood Mercy that are both like fantastical worlds that have like these vampire races in them. I don't know what that counts as, but like that's what I want to read more of.
Like historical vampire romance.
Yeah, but like it has to be in a fantasy world.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll be interested to follow your horror journey while you find out what you like. There's like so many tropes within horror that you can figure out, like you were saying, be able to pick out in a bookstore, like what would be for you. I love a good haunted house story. Those are really good. Weirdly enough, I want to read more cannibal tropes.
I do like cannibal books, so I'm with you. There's something fun about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of cannibal books go too sometimes like hardcore, like, and I'm just like, okay, can we be a little bit less hardcore but still cool?
Less hardcore cannibals.
Yes, maybe they only cannibals once a week instead of 3 times a week.
They're like omnivore cannibals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any like that. Yeah, that's not a subgenre, a trope in horror that I think is really interesting. So maybe try some of those. What is a book that you bought that you don't think you'll end up reading?
Probably The Emberblade, which is like this pretty edition over here. I thought I would read it, and then I saw reviews, and I think I'll hate it. And now I think that I'm just never going to read it, so that I don't have to get rid of the special editions I spent a lot of money on.
So you thought you'd be interested in it, like when you bought the special editions?
Yeah. And then I just like saw reviews, and it was just like it's a lot of like very slow character work, and I typically like a lot more plot in my stories, and less adventure stories in fantasy, like less like Lord of the Rings. Because I also own the Lord of the Rings books, but I don't like the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hate them. I despise them.
I think you're the first person I've ever heard say that. I haven't read them yet, so I don't have an opinion, but I think you're the first person I've ever heard say that.
They're so boring. Just watch the movies.
Is it like the because it's like a quest trope, isn't it? So is it kind of that
Yeah, I'm not the biggest quest story because I find it just is very boring most of the time. I want a little more action in my books than a lot of quest stories are, but yeah.
Now there's 2 people I've heard say that. Kelsey
Yeah.
agrees with you.
Just watch the movies. The movies are way better. Way better.
Gasp! You
I
can't
know.
do that. That's
I'm
like sacrilegious to
I
say
know
the
people
movies are
love them too, but like I think it's also a point where like they're classics and were so unique for their time, but now I've read that trope so many times over and over again because so many books pull from Lord of the Rings that like this feels boring now.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. And that might be one of the reads that people love it so much because it's nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they read it at a time when it was just so new and innovative and groundbreaking. And
Maria, me too, but they're still better than the books. I did like The Hobbit. I actually did read The Hobbit, and I did like The Hobbit, but the other ones not so much.
Ooh, harsh. Okay.
Yeah, I told you I'm known for not liking books. I just have these
I guess
unpopular opinions.
I could. I guess I'm believing you now. I hadn't picked up on that before. I'm like, oh, she's so positive about these books. Yeah, I'm gonna trigger a fandom here.
Yeah, sorry for your comments later. Sorry for my comments later.
We're both gonna be canceled. All right. So, what do books need more of?
This is hard because I think the number one thing I want more of in books is like uniqueness and creativity, but I get that in self-published fantasy now. So I think it's more like traditional publishing needs that, but also the way traditional publishing works, it'll never be that way because they're looking for just like what sells. And so if something goes so big, they're like, we want more of this because that's gonna sell. So like it takes away some of that uniqueness that you can find. But now I just get that in self-published because they don't have anyone looking for this exact idea.
Formula.
So I think that's my number one thing that I would like books to have more of. And dragons. I always want more dragons. Oh, and school settings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those dragons in the school settings, and then but then you lose the uniqueness, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, those things are like the hot topics right now. So I think we'll see that kind of copied and repeated a lot as the new trend.
Yes. I think the Fourth Wing Wave will inspire some school setting dragon books.
I'm here for it. We can just judge them all together, read them and judge them all. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting in traditional publishing. It's frustrating how everything can be compared to, everything's blurbed as this is like Game of Thrones. This is like Hunger Games, or for fantasy romance, for fans of ACOTAR, right? Like they're all very formulaic of those like top sellers.
The problem is it works. And so it'll just keep being that way, sadly. Which, like, even though we all complain about it, it still gets us.
I know.
Okay, I'll buy it, I guess.
We're still suckers lining up at Barnes and Noble. Ooh, more sibling fantasy stories and strong friendships.
I would agree with this.
I agree with that. I think more platonic relationships would be good in books. Read more Wexler because all his stuff is siblings. That's a good recommendation. Awesome. That's a very good answer. Okay, so what is a book that made you fall in love with reading?
The Warrior Cat books.
I have never heard of this.
Oh my god. It's so embarrassing. I was like young, but they're literally cats that are part of like warrior clans. And they just like live in the forest and they have like their own politics and different cultures, and they just hunt and live, and they go on like quests. Like one's a chosen one cat, and
I thought you didn't like quests.
So many. Well, I love cats.
Okay. So it's the cat quests are okay.
Yeah, if it's a cat quest, solid. So yeah, I think those are the books that really made me fall in love with reading when I was younger.
Do you remember like roughly how old you were when you were reading those?
Oh god, there's a video on my channel that has my age. I was probably like 9 when I started them.
Aww. So were you always a bookworm, like consistently from that point on, or take any breaks?
No, I hit high school and reading wasn't cool, and I wanted to be cool, and I didn't read. And then pretty much when I started my channel, I started reading again. Like I was reading a little bit before that, but not a lot. Mostly like if I went on vacations or something, like I went backpacking and I took a book with me. But then I found BookTube, and then I started my channel, and then I was like, yes, reading again. I don't need to be cool because people aren't mean anymore, so reading is cool.
That's kind of fun. Do you remember like which booktube channels you first came across? Like how did you find booktube?
Actually, my sister just told me, but we watched Books with Emily Fox for like a year. That's the only channel I watched. And then I like moved on to like Jade from JD Ray Reads and like Becca in the Books. And then that just spiraled into like anyone that they're friends with, because channels talk about channels, and then I'm like, oh, I'll go watch that and all that. And then now we're here.
Awesome. And hey, Emily Fox loves cats too. I see all her cats and her
little kittens.
yes. Warrior cats. Hi Bex Reads.
Hi Becky.
That's so fun. So how long have you been doing your channel?
2 years.
Oh, nice.
Not a long time. I think people think I've been on it for a really long time.
I know. With the way you just described that, I was thinking you were going to say like 4+ years.
No, 2 years. I probably found BookTube 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
I was a good like year not on it. Like
so maybe just before the pandemic?
Yeah. Probably in the pandemic. Yeah, probably in the pandemic I found it.
Yeah, because it really blew up during that time because there's nothing else to really do but watch videos and read books. So, but you started your channel after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
During the pandemic, I was a TikToker.
Really? About books or?
No, I can do like special effects makeup. I'm a certified makeup artist technically. So I was posting like special effects makeup videos on TikTok, and it did pretty good. I like gained like 50K during the pandemic, and then I just didn't want to do it anymore because it took like 8 hours a day, and I didn't have a job really because I'm a wedding photographer, and no weddings were happening during the pandemic, so I had all this free time.
So that TikTok account has kind of died off?
I now post books on it.
Ah, okay. It's kind of
converted it because I wasn't
a transition.
And I was just like, well, one day I'm just going to start posting about books, and I'll probably lose subscribers for a while, but it's doing pretty good. I don't post that often, but I try to. Social media, there's just so many of them. Like I post on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah. Any chance you might do a like makeup look to match a book cover? Because I think that'd be really fun. I think like a Fireborn look would be like really cool.
So I did read the Poppy War during the pandemic because I do have a Poppy War look that I did on TikTok. And then I also have a Ninth House look. So there's like a snake on my face, but those are the only ones I have done. At one point I played around with the idea of doing like a look for my best book every single month, and then like the end of the year there'd be a video, but it just takes so much time to do that I never carved out the time to do the looks. But one day I want to do something.
I think we would all appreciate that. So we're gonna start a movement to make that happen.
Start pressuring me every single day. Comment. Yes.
Exactly. And that kind of fits into a question we got from Bex Reads. She wants to know, what is a video idea or project you would love to do but haven't yet?
That one. God, there's so many. I actually at one point had a like romance experiment that I thought would be really cool, but I hated my life doing it, so it never saw the light of day. But I would like to do something like it at some point. I essentially was like, okay, an experiment happens and you have a constant and a change. And so I wanted to like find what I liked in romance, like contemporary romance.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick an author, and the author will be my constant, and then I'm gonna read all their books that have like different tropes and see what tropes work for me. And the idea was not really like if I liked the books or not, but whether like that style of trope, like enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, second chance romance, if that could work for me. But I picked Tessa Bailey, and it was very hit or miss on my enjoyment on the books, and then I just stopped reading them because I was not having fun.
Yeah. Bummer.
So I liked one of her books, which is why I picked her, because I had read a book that I loved, but it was not worth reading books that I didn't like. But I want to do something like that. I thought that was such a cool idea with like a constant and a change and like a real experiment.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. then you're right. You're kind of stuck. You're kind of boxed in if it turns out that author was like a one-hit wonder or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested in that one. I'd be really interested to see which tropes that you enjoy the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good question. All right. Number 9. What was the last book you stayed up late reading and what time was it?
Where is it? I will grab it. The Will of the Many. I stayed up till 3 a.m. reading it. I stay up late a lot, so I have a lot of books that could be answered this, but this is the last one that I did. I loved it. It was amazing. Incredible. Everybody read it.
5 stars. And we can probably expect to see this in like your top books of the year, I would think.
Yeah, although I will say, like, I stay up late reading quite often. I get very addicted and I just don't sleep.
So do you read more at night rather than the daytime?
Yeah, probably.
But I wish I could do that. I start to fall asleep right away. I like natural sunlight to read. I
don't have a window in my legal bedroom because it's illegal to sleep in a room with no window in Canada. But yeah, so I'm used to the non-natural light. I also hate sleep. I hate sleeping.
That's crazy.
It's just like
my second favorite pastime next to reading.
It's just all this time that I lost and I don't remember. I hate it.
You're right about those unpopular opinions.
Yeah.
It was Lord of the Rings. Now it's sleeping. Oh, man.
I know. I sleep like 5 hours a night only. I don't like to sleep.
I wish I could function like that.
Eventually I'll play catch up though. Like I'll have a day where I sleep a really long time because probably need it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
All right, question number 10. What book or series is a comfort read of yours and what makes it so comforting?
I don't know if I have one of these because like I don't reread. And so like I don't really have like a comfort read. But if I like talk to like a comfort like style choice, it is probably just like a younger character who is going on a quest for revenge, which I don't know why that's comforting to me, but for some reason I love those books and I just like can eat them up. And if I'm in a slump or something, that's a style of story I want to pick up.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer because I think the revenge aspect is so satisfying. So like
either when they complete the revenge or when they realize like revenge is not it and like there's like better things out there, both satisfying endings.
Yes.
Stab. Just reading about a little murder before bed.
No wonder you don't sleep. Yeah, if that's how you relax. Okay, so those were the 10 questions. Now we get to the good stuff. Now we get to
back. These are the scary questions. Let's go back, rewind, ask me questions again.
See, I buttered you up with like the comforting books, and now you're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So I have been going through the backlog of your videos to prepare for these questions. So these are customized for you.
I'm scared. I'm terrified.
Oh, don't be scared. Okay, so you have been reading a lot of dragon fantasy lately. And so I wanted to know if you would rather be a dragon rider in Fireborn or Fourth Wing. So we're just looking at the first books because obviously you have like a series versus a first book.
Fourth Wing. Because the dragons have more personality.
Okay.
So I want a dragon that's going to be a friend. Like my best friend will talk to me in my head. Sounds way
maybe not let you fall. I haven't read Fireborn yet, but it's like I'm on hold with Libby to get it. So
good. But like Fireborn is better for like the politics and stuff. Fourth Wing is more for the dragons. So I feel like this was easier because like the dragons stand out in Fourth Wing more.
Are they nicer in Fourth Wing than in Fireborn?
They're just like in Fireborn, they're more like horses.
Okay.
Like they're like
less
and like I think in Fourth Wing, they're more like a dog. Like they have like a personality.
Okay, I think that's a good answer.
They don't have personalities, but you know what I mean? Like
yeah. Okay. Okay, so now a little bit of an easier would you rather. Well, maybe. Would you rather have a cliffhanger at the end of a book or have a favorite character die?
Favorite character die.
Ooh, that is easy. You are
I
vicious.
love heartbreak. I love heartbreak. If a book can make me cry and like I'm ready for it. Like the more characters could die and I'd be happier in my books because I just want to feel pain.
Wow. Rough. Who hurt you, Cassidy? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is vicious.
Hi.
See, Deb, love a sassy dragon. They're fun, and they talk back. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So you can chat. Yeah, Maria, see, these are the tough questions. Well, maybe not so tough because she is so quick to just off her favorite characters.
I'm vicious.
Yeah, no kidding. Apparently you're not alone, though. See, I think both are just, I can't even pick those. Those are difficult. Okay, so looking at a couple of your videos that you've talked about your favorite books or favorite series, I wanted to make you choose between them. So I want to know, would you rather spend a year at the magical school setting in Will of the Many, which we just talked about that book, or a year selling on the Vivacia from Live Ship Traders?
The Vivacia. Easily. That's way cooler.
And
like, I love the school setting, but it's kind of ruthless. Or I could be on a live ship.
Yeah. Well, and I think, compared to the comments, that you just want someone to talk to at all times. See, you can talk to the ship. So
yeah. This sounds great.
Yeah, that's the Vivacia has so much personality too. I'm halfway through the trilogy. And I'm enjoying that ship.
I also do hate school. I love reading about school settings, but I hate school. I dropped out.
Really?
I hated it.
So then why do you think you like it in books? Why do you think you like the magical school?
I think I like what it can make me believe in for a character. So like it's really easy to then like understand a character for me because we saw them be like taught lessons. Mm-hmm. As well as school settings are often like mirrors of like the bigger setting of a world, which I think is why we often see like first books at a school setting and then second books expanding past the school setting. So like we have like a smaller version of like the politics and the scheming and things that will happen later on in the story. And I just think it's like an easier way to like picture it all.
Okay. So then expanding on that, so you had said in one of your videos that you did not enjoy Babel, right? Yeah. So do you remember, because I know you probably like read it a while ago, what was it about the magical school setting in Babel that you did not enjoy? Because it seems to have all those things that you just talked about, like the setting for the larger world, like that's the definition of it. So
do it. I mostly just feel like the magic didn't need to be there. Like it just didn't feel like it didn't affect anything for the story, in my opinion. And it didn't affect like, because it's historical, but it didn't change history at all. And I feel like if you had magic in history, like something like that, that would change our history and make it a little bit more alternate and be like less on the nose. Yeah.
Interesting. Because it's like on the surface, that book has so much, because same author as Poppy War, which you say is one of your favorites. It has the magical school setting, right? So it's a shocker that one didn't land for you.
It broke my heart. I wanted it to land, and it was like one of my worst books of the year. Oh. I did not like it.
Bummer.
But yeah, I wanted to so badly.
Yeah. And it's a good example though. It's not formulaic. Like something that works or doesn't work typically can be totally different if you try it again. So Bald Booktuber agrees with your answer.
Live Ships is just a whole new level of reading. It's better than anything else.
See, I'd have to say, like, I'd want to sail on the Vivacia, but not if Kyle's there.
This is fair. But I would just push him over. He can be one of the characters that dies.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Like, that's my sole reason to continue this trilogy is, like, I want to see him get what's coming to him. Don't spoil it for me, but
I won't. Don't worry.
If I'm not satisfied with what happens to him, sorry, Bald Booktuber, but I might have something to talk to Miss Queen Hob about because Kyle's gotta go.
Kyle is something else.
Oh, yes.
Hobb just does this though. Like Hobb just makes you hate characters so well.
Well, yeah, and since you're so quick to like kill them off and have emotion, I think I can see why you like Life Ship Traders so much, because you really hate a good portion of these characters.
I love when a book makes me hate a character. Like if I'm seething that like this is a terrible character, I need them to die right away, but then they're not dying and I'm just sitting there like, when are you going to die? I just feel so invested.
Yeah, as long as that payoff happens, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not good when the payoff doesn't happen.
yeah, that's a letdown. Okay, so you've mentioned a couple times, even in this show, but in some of your videos, a couple genres that you, or subgenres that you do not enjoy. So I'm going to make you pick between them. So you can only read historical fiction the rest of your life, or smutty paranormal romances.
Smutty paranormal romance. At least I'll get a good laugh.
And then, I mean, paranormal is kind of fantasy still, so.
But I can at least laugh at those and have a fun time. Historical fiction just bores me. I know some people love it, but I just find it so boring.
That's so interesting, because and you don't like urban fantasy, so I would think historical fiction would be, I guess, closer, because it's not that urban setting. But is it too that it's just like too realistic? Like it has to be some like fantasy elements to it?
I think I just want plot. I'm less of a character-driven reader, even though like I say this, but like characters are the reasons like you love or hate books most of the time. But like if a book is all characters, no plot, I get so bored, which is also kind of what I felt about Babel. But if it's like more plot and crappier characters, I'm more likely to like it. And I find historical fiction often is a lot about the characters and what they're going through and like their emotions, and there's not necessarily like a plot like we're gonna try and do this. So that's, I think, where it gets me.
That's a good explanation, I think. Yeah. Okay, so the last would you rather question, this was the one that had me like giggling to myself, because I entertained the crap out of myself. So you did a mid-year video where you talked about like books you loved and books you disliked.
Okay.
And I thought it was really funny that there were 2 books that you disliked for similar reason. And it was interesting because actually you gave a segue to this when you were saying like you need more plot. But for these 2, it was all smut, no plot. So I want to know, would you rather read The Never King out loud at a retirement or nursing home, or Her Soul to Take?
The Never King, it's so much shorter. Her Soul to Take is so much longer than The Never King, so I can get in and out real quick. No pun intended.
Oh, all the puns intended for that one.
That was not what I was expecting. That's a good question. Definitely The Never King.
Oh, man.
Both would be terrible, but...
Oh, it would be a horrible experience. But, I mean, I'm living for the secondhand embarrassment that I'm getting from picturing you reading these out loud at, like, a nursing home to the residents.
I'm hoping maybe, too, that they'll just be confused about the Lost Boys and stuff in The Never King and just be like, wow, Peter Pan is a lot different than I expected, and, you know, not realize what I'm saying.
Well, and for the audience that don't know what these books are, do you want to summarize them?
The Never King is a story about sleeping with all the Lost Boys. That's all. There's no plot. Sorry to everyone who likes it.
A plot. Peter lost his shadow. He needs to find it.
This is true, but that happens in the last 10 pages only. And Her Soul to Take, our female character who is a demon specialist somehow summons a demon that she doesn't believe in and then fucks him a lot.
I mean, that sounds like a stellar plot. What are you talking about?
And someone's trying to sacrifice people. That's what I remember about it. But there's one scene in Her Soul to Take that I remember very vividly, and I will never, ever read that out loud at a retirement nursing home. So this was an easy answer.
Was it just like too smutty or disturbing, or?
She gets somewhere pierced while doing something, and it was disturbing. It was a disturbing moment of my life that I had to read.
Well, Marina thinks they'd be really entertained and ask you back. So I think
Honestly, like I think some of them probably would, because like some like my grandmother's wild. She'd probably have a kick at someone reading these things. I know she reads these things herself, so
interesting.
like for Christmas when I buy my family books, and I always have to like go to like the romance section, like where's the smuttiest rom-com available for my grandmother who's 80.
I love her. I love her. She needs to be a guest on the channel because
Yeah.
can she like pick your TBR? That'd be really fun.
That would be so terrible for me. Really great for all of you.
Yes, yes. I think yeah, add that to the list of videos we want to see. We want to see that. We want to see the makeup looks to match the book. We're just gonna fill up your schedule with different ideas.
Sure.
Well, see, that wasn't too bad. That was the would you rather questions.
No, that wasn't bad at all.
Yeah. See, that was intimidating and scary.
Don't think too hard, just answer. That's my game plan for those. I think it worked well.
Yeah, you just got to do the first thing that comes to mind, right? So I think the hardest one was probably the dragons.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest one.
Yeah, because they're all awesome. So anyways, Cassidy, thank you so much for being a Biblio Files guest. This was a lot of fun getting to know you a little bit better.
Before we sign off, can I ask you to tell people what they can expect on your channel?
Ooh, yeah.
New here?
Yeah. If you're new here, so Jack and the Book Stack is a booktube channel where I talk about a wide variety of book genres and the bookish lifestyle. So I do a lot of vlogs, not as cool as Cassidy's, but I'm trying.
I think that they are.
Oh, thanks. I get a kick out of getting creative with them and doing themes. So that's kind of one of my favorite things. I'm filming a spooky season weekly reading vlog right now. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, so that's my channel. Thanks for the
Everyone subscribe, like, comment on the video, do the dang thing.
Do the dang thing. Yeah. Well, subscribe to both of our channels because it helps us grow and we love the conversation. Thank you everyone for joining and watching the playback, and we'll see you out there in the comments. Bye.